this video, I'm interviewing a Grammy-nominated producer who has songs with DJ Khaled, Future, SZA, Lil TJ, and has made over $700,000 selling beats online. He lays out his exact strategy he's used to earn over $30,000 in 1 month without a major following, gives advice on how to connect with bigger producers when you're just starting out, and at the end of this video, he breaks down his Grammy-nominated melody that eventually landed on DJ Khaled's album, God Did. What is the single most important thing you've done in your producer career? If you had to start over completely from scratch, you had no following, couldn't use your name, no one knew who Kavi was, what strategy would you use, and how long do you think it would take you to make $1,000 to $2,000 a month? How'd you get into beats? Like how'd you open the software for the first time?
When I was like 8 years old, I would download like those DJ apps, remix Skrillex songs and shit like that. Flash forward to when I was like 13, 14, I started to rap, and I would just download like YouTube type beats and record on Audacity. And then eventually I liked doing that so much that I was like, yo, I can make my own beats. So then I downloaded this free software called LMMS, dove right in. I was watching like BusyWorks beats, all of that. And then I was paying for one-on-one consultations with some guy who was a big Logic YouTuber.
Did that help?
Yeah, I think it actually did help a lot.
So were you into music at all, like before that, like growing up?
There was no like formal music. Nobody in my family has done music. I just kind of got YouTube videos recommended to me and started like getting into it from there. Once my beats were good enough that I was confident enough to put them on YouTube as type beats, I was just like, email me if you want to buy the beats. And I was just hustling like the PayPal, whatever. I remember I got my first beat sale. It was like $15, and I'd been working this guy for like 3 months. I finally got my first sale, and I remember like running up to my mom, and I was like, fucking yes.
Really?
Like, yeah, I was going crazy. But I started my BeatStars in the first month. I made like $275 from just like my YouTube channel, my type beat channel. I thought I was balling because like my allowance was $80, and I was making triple that selling beats. So I was like going to Taco Bell, and so I was like going up. I was making like $500 to $700 for a while. I remember like not being able to break 1K. But then I got a collab beat with this guy named TK in 2018, and that beat was making like 2K a month.
Yeah.
I got that one, and that was the first one that kind of took off.
Yeah.
And then that got me like over $1,000 a month. And then I started like sending out to a couple other bigger producers. And then I got like to 2,000 a month. And then I think I got like at the height, I got to like 3,500 a month. I would just send like one loop a month to like one guy randomly. It didn't click to me like I'm making way more money doing this. Like I need to shift my focus to that.
But you ended up like your type beat channel kind of fell off a little bit, right?
Yeah, and the reason why that fell off is I signed a bad management deal. You know, it was promised like, oh, gonna get you working with these people, in the rooms with these people. I started saving every good beat I had for placements and posting just the ones that I didn't really like to YouTube. The views just kind of dwindled down.
Yeah, because you thought placements were a better opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, but I didn't have like a solid connection. Like it was just some guy who I trusted. The momentum died, and then
it was hard to bring back.
Yeah, well, I've never brought it back. It's dead now.
Within that period, that is when we met, right?
I met you because you bought my sample kit.
It was trash.
Motherfucker. First of all, I thought the top, like absolute top anyone had ever made on BeatStars was like 10K a month. And then you showed me your sales, and it was like 30K past 30 days. And I was like, oh, maybe I can like get to the point making 5K. Like that would be ridiculous. And like within 3 months, I was making 6K, and then like 8K, 10K, 12K, 18K. Like it just kept like going further than I had expected. But I think I obsessed more with growth than like a number. Like, yes, I wanted to hit 30, but at that point it was so out of reach that I wasn't like actually stressed about hitting 30 that month. I was just like, if I make more money than I did last month, it's a successful month.
Okay, so, and then you like hit that 18K. How long does it take you to get to whatever your best month has been?
After that 18K month in December, like when 2021 started, first month I definitely made like over 20K. Second month, probably like 25. And then I think March, it was like over 30 grand in collab sales in like March. There was a day I remember I had the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 top beat on BeatStars at the same time. I was like diversified, you know? So if one producer was doing really well 1 month and then like kind of fell off, I was okay because I was working with 150 other big guys, you know?
What was your first big placement, I guess I would say?
I have a lot of like unreleased ones, but the first one that dropped was NLE Choppa was featured on the song by Gino 2 times, and that dropped on Walk My Choppa actually.
Now it's interesting because a handful of big producers are starting to see your Instagram ads and respond to them, right?
That's actually how Beautiful came to be, because TM88 found me from an Instagram ad that I was running for like an R&B Drake kit at the time, and he just DM'd me. He was like, gave me his email, and then I sent him loops every day, like 5 loops a day for like a year straight before I heard anything back. And then he was like, yo, what's your number? Called me on the phone and told me that DJ Khaled like was using some of our stuff for his album. Been like 2 months had gone by, and then DJ Khaled's like really started hyping up like the God did.
Call me asparagus.
The beat, it says beautiful over and over and over. So I was looking on the track list for a track called Beautiful Fantasies or Beautiful Something. All the tracks kept like going off, and then all of a sudden Beautiful featuring Future and SZA. And I remember I was in the coffee shop. The first thing I did was text you. I was like, yo, like Future and SZA, like
another one.
This is crazy. Yeah. Like that's a dream, like a Future song, you know? Like he's one of my like top 5 rappers. So.
And then you also had Lil TJ Beat the Odds, and that came through YouTube Beat, right?
Yeah, so I didn't even send that loop out to the producer Desires who used it. I think he bought my kit on Loopstash. He used a sample inside that kit, posted it on his YouTube channel. Lil TJ's team hit us up and was like, oh, we're using this, whatever. And then, yeah, that's how that one happened. Just a YouTube beat. I'm not the type of person who really cares about like my clout or my social following, but I've learned that it's a tool. Nowadays, like your Instagram is your resume, like in the business we're in. So now when I go to DM someone, it's like, oh, he worked with Future, DJ Khaled, Lil TJ, whatever. Like, oh, bet I'm gonna at least read the message or like respond, you know? Everyone wants like the secret way to like make money or whatever, but I feel like it's just time and like consistency, like every single day, no days off. You're just like hammering it once you know you have a good strategy. But even before you know you have a good strategy, just to build that character. Like now that I'm thinking about my whole story, like I've been like balls deep in this shit for 6 years now. What might seem like, oh, he landed a couple big collabs and made money and then like randomly got lucky with an email. Like it's 6 years of work that leads to the exponential growth, you know?
If you had to start over completely from scratch, you had no following, couldn't use your name, no one knew who Coffee was, what strategy would you use? And how long do you think it would take you to make $1,000 to $2,000 a month?
I think the first thing I would do is start an Instagram account and create a sample store. Follow, unfollow on a bunch of producer pages, get to like 100 followers, just like 100 real producer followers. And it might take like a week, whatever. Get that, post your kits, and then run the Instagram ads with the automatic audience, and that'll automatically target.
What if you don't have very much money?
I just run my ads for $5 a day. So that will start getting you sales right away. So you'll start making money. I mean, the first month I did Loopstash, I was doing that exact strategy. I made 1,000. The next month, 4,000. So that strategy works for sure. If your samples are good, if your drum kit is good, if like the preview on the ad is like actually super fire and ear catching, if you build that up, people are gonna start to notice you rather than you having to go out to people. On top of doing that, I would also reach out to all the big YouTube producers who make stuff like the loops that I make. Reach out to them, try to get a response, but don't dwell on like, if I send out to 90 people that are kind of out of reach for me right now, I might get 1 response. I might get 2 or 3, and then maybe one of them uses a loop ever. Like, it's just how the game goes, you have to build it up over time.
What advice would you have for producers who are like, well, I'm not sure if my stuff's good enough to send out?
Some people might not want to hear this, but I used to think, fuck that, just send your stuff out, whatever. But I think you burn bridges if you send bad stuff right away, which might scare some people into just never sending their stuff out. First time you send them a loop, like if they don't like it, but they can tell that it's like good, they might not block you. But if it is not good, they will block you. If you know that your skill is not there, do not send stuff out. Because it's hard to get to that point where you're like, I know my stuff is good enough, or I think it's good enough.
Yeah.
I think you can start once you have the self-awareness and know like, okay, I've been doing this for long enough that I can make cool beats out of my loop. Start sending to small people who are actually good. Like they have good sounding stuff. You have no competition in their loop email. If those people start using it consistently, all right, I'm working with this guy with 1K subs. Let me hit up this guy with 7K subs who's kind of going crazy a little bit. Now, all these guys are using it every day. My loops are probably good enough to get to the guy with 100K subs. If I can somehow get a response from him, build it up that way. Don't find Cash Money AP's email and just start sending him loops when you've been making loops for a couple months and you don't know what you're doing.
And then this is a huge question. So what is the single most important thing you've done in your producer career?
Subscribe to Dilly.
Do you think that anybody is able to get professionally good? Like maybe not 50K a month, or maybe not like make a Drake album or whatever, but do you think anyone could get professionally good?
I think if anyone stuck with the right strategy and spent enough time getting good at making music, anyone can make a living. You didn't grow up making music. I didn't grow up making music. I mean, I messed around a little bit, but we really don't know what we're doing. We've just like figured out the patterns over time, you know? So
yeah,
I feel like it's just getting your reps in.
If I compare Kavi's loops from 2 years ago to what they sound like today, it's dramatically different. What advice would you give to a producer who's like, I want to improve as fast as Kavi has?
I just naturally like figured out the new sauce and techniques by doing it over and over. And then, yeah, like being curious, like, why can't I get this VST to sound like the real thing? And then I just pay for someone to do the real thing. And then, oh, the VST doesn't work like that. If someone wanted to improve as fast as I have, I would just say, put in the reps, do it over and over, but have the self-awareness to know like when to improve it instead of just hammering the same thing.
What's next? Like, and what's next and how are you going to get there?
$1 million a year.
Ooh.
And I'm going to get there by Loop Stash. One is going to be my main income, like for sure in the future. And then also I've got a bunch of cool stuff going on with my Discord. Like that'll go crazy. The publishing checks for the placements is going to go crazy. But really, I feel like my YouTube content is going to feed into Loop Stash, and those are going to be like the main pillars. I'm just going to build that into something way more valuable than it is right now. So now here's the breakdown for Kavi's Grammy-nominated melody for the song Beautiful by DJ Khaled featuring Future and SZA. This is the project file for my Grammy-nominated melody. I played these on my MIDI keyboard, just like these little top notes. There's really no thought behind them. They're just in the key, and I just kind of play around on the keyboard. I love this part. Added the same walk down on a bell. So a lot of it is just layering to make it sound like more luxurious and real. And then I added 3 different layers of strings. So this is 3 different MIDI patterns, and I mess with the modulation on the strings, and it's from this BBC Symphony Orchestra. I just added some live bass and guitar, and this is what that sounds like. At that point, the music was pretty much finished. I had like a couple variations in there, but I sent it over to my vocalist, Paula, shout out Paula, and she came back with this. Yeah, and then after that, I just bounced everything down into one file, and then I pitched and sped it up, and this is how Beautiful was made.
If you want the full 55-minute uncut interview, I'll link that in the description. And if you want some tips on like how to make a living as a music producer and just talk music production in general, join my Discord. I'll link that below as well. Thanks for watching. Peace.